Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. The first person to avoid is the complainer, the individual who constantly blames external factors for their misfortune. This type of person often plays the role of the victim, never taking responsibility for their actions. They tend to view the world as unfair and frequently express dissatisfaction with the people, circumstances, and situations they encounter. For the Stoic, this mentality is detrimental. Why? Because the complainer fosters a mindset that we cannot change our circumstances, leading to helplessness and despair. By constantly focusing on the negative, they create a reality where improvement seems impossible. Stoic insight. To be at peace, we must embrace the idea of accepting what we cannot change and working to improve what we can. Engaging with a constant complainer can shift our focus from problem solving to endless lamentation. How to deal. Practice empathy, but avoid being drawn into their negative cycle. Use your time and energy to focus on constructive conversations and actions. Next, we have the manipulator, a person who uses others for their gain, whether emotionally, financially, or psychologically. The manipulator often disguises their intentions behind kindness or deceit, making it difficult to recognize their behavior until it's too late. The Stoics warn us against becoming entangled with people who seek to control us or exploit our vulnerabilities. Manipulators often sow confusion, leading us to question our judgments, desires, and feelings. They thrive on our uncertainty. Stoic insight. Control over our lives is a core principle of Stoic thought. By allowing others to manipulate us, we relinquish our autonomy, leading to emotional turmoil and resentment. How to deal. Recognize manipulation early. Set clear boundaries and trust your instincts. Do not allow others to take control of your emotions or decisions. The cynic sees the world through a lens of skepticism and disbelief, often dismissing the possibility of goodness, progress, or virtue. They are quick to point out the flaws in everything, believing that no one can be trusted and that all motives are selfish. While the Stoics themselves are critical of blind optimism, they encourage a realistic yet hopeful outlook and awareness of both the challenges and the opportunities in life. The cynic, on the other hand, feeds on negativity, draining the energy from any meaningful endeavor. A Stoic strives for rational optimism, understanding the imperfections of life but still holding hope for virtue and improvement. The cynic undermines this process, encouraging a defeatist attitude. How to deal. Be cautious of anyone who discourages your efforts or challenges your beliefs without offering constructive alternatives. Surround yourself with people who promote thoughtful and hopeful action. Drama often arises from the drama king or queen, someone who thrives on attention, chaos, and exaggeration. Their life is full of crises and they often drag others into their emotional roller coasters. This person does not just experience problems, they create a spectacle around their emotions, often to manipulate others' sympathy, time, and energy. For a Stoic, the desire to maintain inner peace is paramount, and this kind of individual can severely disrupt that. Stoic insight. Stoicism calls for an emotional detachment from unnecessary drama. Our emotional energy must be reserved for actions that align with our values, not for engaging in trivial or destructive conflicts. How to deal. Politely but firmly disengage from unnecessary drama. Focus on your own peace and avoid getting involved. In their turbulent emotional world, envy is a powerful and destructive emotion, and the envious person can be toxic to your mental health. This individual is often resentful of others' success, happiness, or achievements. Seeing these as personal threats, the envious person may not always express their feelings openly, but their resentment can subtly erode relationships, sowing distrust and undermining progress. They are never satisfied with what they have, and their negativity often discourages those around them. Stoic insight. The Stoic response to envy is to focus on one's own growth and development, not comparing oneself to others. We must understand that others' successes do not diminish our worth or potential. How to deal. Avoid comparison. Encourage the envious person to focus on their own journey, but don't let their dissatisfaction distract you from your own path. The perfectionist is someone who sets impossibly high standards for themselves and others. They never seem satisfied with their achievements or the achievements of those around them. This person might be driven by an inner fear of failure or a deep need for validation. The Stoics, while encouraging excellence, are wary of perfectionism because it can lead to frustration, stagnation, and an unending cycle of dissatisfaction. The perfectionist is often paralyzed by fear of not measuring up, and they project this onto others. Stoic insight. Stoicism emphasizes progress, not perfection. The focus should be on improvement, not achieving an unrealistic ideal. Perfectionism leads to self-criticism and burnout. How to deal. Recognize the value in progress rather than perfection. Encourage small, meaningful steps rather than grand, unattainable goals. Finally, the narcissist is someone who believes they are superior. to others, often displaying a lack of empathy and a strong desire for admiration. They view relationships as transactional, taking what they can from others without offering much in return. Narcissists can be difficult to avoid, especially in work or family settings, but their lack of genuine connection and constant need for validation can cause great harm to your emotional well-being. Stoic insight. The Stoics value humility, empathy, and mutual respect. Engaging with a narcissist often forces us to operate in an unequal and transactional manner, which is against Stoic principles of virtuous living. How to deal. Set boundaries and detach emotionally. Offer compassion but do not feed their need for admiration or validation. Conclusion. Cultivating awareness and peace understanding. The types of people that Stoicism warns us about is essential for cultivating peace, focus, and emotional resilience. By identifying and distancing ourselves from these negative influences, we give ourselves the space to thrive in accordance with nature, our values, and our higher purpose. To live a truly Stoic life is not to avoid people altogether, but to engage with them in a way that preserves our tranquility and wisdom. Be mindful of your relationships and remember that, ultimately, the only person you can control is yourself.